Night Show with award-winning host Steve-O. Listen to some of America's top names in politics and call in with your comments at 888-565-1470. And now, here's Steve-O.
Hey, good evening. Oh, we have a show tonight. In the second half hour, we have Laura Trump. That's Eric Trump's wife, the president's daughter-in-law. We also have Diamond and Silk. And if you've never been to a rally, you might not know who they are. They open up for the president's rally every month, every week. Diamond and Silk, they are the funniest ladies. I'm telling you, you will love them. So the second half is going to be insane. But I've been promoting today our special guest that's on with us today. That her and I have been kind of doing this for like the last 4 or 5 years. And for those of you who don't know, I'm a restaurant critic. And one of the things a restaurant critic is not supposed to do is tell a restaurant they're his favorite restaurant. And I would also always tell my next guest, your restaurant, Tasso's Greek Taverna, is my favorite restaurant. Every time people come in from out of town, they want to know, where should we go in Miami to eat? And I go, you know what? Forget Miami. You got to go to Tasso's Greek Taverna. It is without a doubt my favorite restaurant. But not only is it my favorite restaurant, when you go in there, they treat you like you've just come into your home. How am I doing, Sophia Malona?
Very, very good, Steve. Very good, Steve. It's a pleasure to be with you again.
I'm so glad. She has been coming on our show for so long, and I just found out that she's conservative. And not only did I find out she's conservative, she mows more than I do. So tonight and I'm gonna tell you something. If you have a birthday party coming up and you really want to impress everybody, Tasso's Greek Taverna, it's right off of Oakland Park Boulevard and A1A, is the most beautiful restaurant. First of all, it was beautiful before they redecorated it. So now it's beautiful, beautiful.
Thank you very much, Steve. Thank you.
This is the play, and your wines. Oh my God. How many awards have you won for your wines?
Well, we win a Wine Spectator Award every year, and we do take pride in our collection. It's all small boutique wineries, and we have a very nice selection of wines. But we're here to talk about your big guest tonight, no? I mean, about about the problems that restaurants face in this post-COVID-19 environment, or during this pandemic.
And
yes.
What has COVID done to your business?
We were closed for almost 2 months entirely. Then we were only open for takeout, which was tough. It was very, very tough because the uncertainty, and still there's a lot of uncertainty in the market. You know, we had to operate under restricted hours. We're still on a curfew. Now we operate until 11 o'clock at night. Our bar is closed. We only seat people at the high tops we have around the bar. But let me tell you, as long as we're healthy and we're open for business, we're happy. Now, I'll tell you from my experience, the government was very fast to supply as much support as they could. We tried to
financially.
Financially, yes. We kept all our staff in the kitchen, full-time staff. Everybody kept their jobs. We were not able to keep our front of the house staff because they got a very big unemployment check, so they refused to even come to work. We had to hire new staff.
More. They could make more staying home.
Yes, but it's still a very uncertain environment. But we don't have. Let me tell you, it's not as bad. It's not very bad. You know, we We take all the precautions we can because, my significant other is 85 years old and he has heart failure. So if we don't take precautions, this is a death sentence. We wear masks. We disinfect everything. We have our menus are on QR codes. Remember, you liked our menus because they were paper menus. Now it's a QR code. You scan it with your phone and you can read it on your phone. So we take every precaution that we can. With the doors in the bathrooms are open, you don't have to touch a door. We disinfect every day the whole restaurant. It's very, very simple. We were doing that before, but now even more.
Does the city come in and inspect you?
Yes, the city does come in and they enforce the curfew hours because everybody has to be out of the restaurant by 11 o'clock, which is a reasonable time. And we have no problem following the guidelines. We understand these are necessary. These are strange times, so you have to do what you have to do. And we all take precautions. You met my secretary, Noel. She's 70 years old. She takes... We have to protect everybody. Our staff has been tested. None of them was positive, which was a good thing. And we take every precaution. And let me tell you how I see this. I lived in New Jersey, New York. You've lived there. I don't know if you ever lived in the cold. You never go out without a coat or without protective gear in the middle of the winter. So it's the same thing here. You never go out without your mask. You don't stop washing your hands. So this is what life is going to be. This is fine with us. As long as we're able to be in business, it's fine.
Well, let's talk about New York a little bit because 2 days ago, they came out and said no restaurants are going to open and maybe until the end of the year. And then all of a sudden, they came out yesterday and they had this new plan of opening up 25% of the restaurant at the end of this month and then 50% at the end of October. Tell people what that is going to do.
We all used to make jokes of restaurants sitting because restaurants in New York sit everybody very close together. It's very tight. Space was limited in New York. We have a license. We're licensed to seat 260 people. So at 50% capacity, this brings us to 130, which makes it a viable restaurant. I can't imagine if I had to operate under 25% capacity, even at at 65 seats, it wouldn't be a viable operation. There's no way that a restaurant can be viable. The overhead, it would be tremendous. It's an unrealistic scenario.
And cutting out the bar business.
Cutting out the bar business. And also, nobody understands that your employees at the restaurant, they're not executives, okay? They live paycheck to paycheck. They are your students. They are the people who work in New York at the theater industry. These people, and not only that, restaurants support other industries. It's all a chain reaction. So we had the misfortune of seeing a lot of our suppliers being furloughed, a lot of the salespeople that work for the liquor company, for the meat company, for the produce company, they're still on a reduced pay. It's so devastating to see the concierges that used to send us guests to be furloughed. I can't imagine what it does to the population in New York City, how devastating it is to have people without a job or without income, because it's a chain reaction. If the restaurant's not open, we don't order vegetables, we don't order meats. All of these people are without jobs. It's devastating. It's all a chain reaction. It's not just the restaurant that. So, if a restaurant goes under, it's not just the restaurant going under. The landlord doesn't get his rent. He cannot make mortgage payments. He cannot pay you. He cannot pay utilities. It's a lot of things together. It's not just servers making tips or an owner making profit. It's a lot more complicated than that.
You know what scares me is these people who don't have to pay rent right now, or they don't have to pay a mortgage payment right now. Those aren't going away. Eventually, they're going to have to start paying that back.
Exactly. And not only that, with the landlord, it's hard to even understand, because we're lucky at Plazos that we don't have to pay rent. We own the building. But
You have two hats.
yes, we do. But we also own other businesses where we are the landlords. And it's very tough because you understand restaurant owners, because I run a restaurant. We have properties in New Jersey that are catering facilities. Now, there is no legislation for catering facilities and no end in sight for catering, for weddings, for parties. There is no light at the end of this tunnel. It's very tough to be the landlord, but on the same token, you have to pay real estate taxes, which nobody, I don't know about you, but nobody cut my real estate taxes, and nobody cut our bills in any way. So it's very difficult. You have to understand both ends of the deal. Both if you're a renter and if you're a landlord. It's very, very difficult. It's a tough situation, and the government so far has been on our side, has been very supportive. I wish they would pass that second set of PPP money.
Yes.
That would really help. But unfortunately, they cannot come to an agreement, I was reading today. So
They still don't. Today they didn't come to an agreement today.
yeah, they cannot come to an agreement, and you have to be wary of all the people that promise you a lot more money. Because let me tell you, as tough as it seems to be this year for businesses, imagine what's going to be next year when all the reserves are gone. Now, and if you think it's tough in this country that we can print our own money to no end, how tough it's going to be to countries that rely on tourism? Because I was born and raised in Greece, and they had no tourism this year. How tough it's going to be for the rest of Europe or the rest of the world? So we're all connected. This is a global economy, whether we like it or not. So imagine what is going to feel after a year. I imagine it's going to be a lot worse. And now we still have the PPP money and all the liquidity that this government has put into the market. When this dries out, it's going to get a lot worse. On the same token, you don't want to pour so much money out and empty your guns right now and not have money to handle a crisis down the road. So the reason we're having this conversation is because I personally believe the right person to handle this crisis is Donald Trump right now.
I agree with you totally. And you know what? We spent some time talking the other day, and I was blown away. You know what's going on. There's a lot of people out there, even friends of mine, who go, I don't care what's going on in politics, which is a shame because it involves everything we do. But I wanted to talk to you about, you see every night on TV the riots that are going on.
Right.
And, they say Black Lives Matter, that these are just peaceful protests. Tell me, how do you feel about this?
I'll tell you something very simple. If anybody ever spent $5 or $50 to build something or to buy something or to keep a restaurant open or to keep any kind of business open, it takes a lot of money and a lot of hard work. You take a lot of risk when you open a business and you invest a lot of money, okay? And you see somebody ruining your business, whether it's disrupting the flow of traffic because people are afraid to come out, or whether it's destruction, there's fire, there's breakage, and there's nobody, and you feel unprotected. I don't know what I would do if this was happening to us. We're like in Fort Lauderdale, we have the correct mayor who the first sign of riots and unrest, he called the National Guard. But I can't imagine living in some of these cities that there is so much destruction. Frankly, okay, I was born and raised in Greece, and I'm an American citizen by choice, not by birth. Now, I stress by choice because I still think this is the best country in the world. But what makes it great is order, is that nobody's above the law. Now, if we don't have order, this is not the greatest country in the world. This is Africa. This is a zoo. You need order. I cannot even understand how people talk about defunding the police. I cannot understand any of these conversations because they don't make sense. You don't have to be part of a political party or to like somebody or dislike somebody. It's just, there is no logic in this. You cannot defund the police. If anything, you want to give policemen more money because they're not getting paid enough to risk their lives to protect us. We won't have any of this unless we have security, unless we're in a civil, peaceful environment. We wouldn't be having this conversation if there is civil unrest. So I don't even understand. I don't understand. To me, I see the images on television, and it's hard for me to even comprehend them, to be honest with you.
It's like
Nobody
a dream.
can even. Yes, it's surreal. It seems like a third world country. I cannot believe this is happening in our country, and what's even worse, that people defending this. Nobody says violence is good, whether it comes from the police side or whether it comes from the civil side. Nobody promotes this, or nobody accepts this. But to see this to be allowed to happen on day after day with no end in sight, that makes you mad.
Look at New York. I mean, you've been to New York before. Look at Fifth Avenue, the Neiman Marcus, the all the fine Gucci, all the fine stores are all boarded up now.
Well, I went to school in New York. I got my master's in nutrition at NYU. I remember New York remember after 9/11, we would stand in the corner of the streets and you would see policemen or firemen pass, and we would stay and clap, and our tears will come down, and our eyes will well up, and we were so happy to greet them. That's the kind of New York I want to remember. I don't recognize any of this. I mean, it really pains me to see empty streets, to see Times Square empty, to see Sixth Avenue empty. It really hurts. Now, when it comes to Black Lives Matter, I'm sorry. I've been in this country for 37 years. Lives matter, period. Black, white, yellow,
doesn't matter,
whatever
right?
color. Yeah, lives matter, period. I don't understand this. I'm sorry. I was in this country. I employ a lot of colored employees. A lot of my friends are from different colors and different backgrounds. Why is this an issue all of a sudden? I don't understand. And how can something that happened, it was wrong in Milwaukee, wherever it happened, how can it be the president's fault? In a democratic city, or with a democratic governor, why is this politicized like this? It's not about, nobody says that violence is right, but it should not be. It's not about black and white. We're all the same. We all have the same bills to pay, the same pain every day. Am I right or wrong?
Sophia, I don't know why I thought about you the other night, but in Rochester, New York, they had a real nice restaurant. People were dining outside. Probably some of them haven't been outside for months. Black Lives Matter comes in, starts turning over the tables. They start taking food off of people's plates. I mean, what? I mean, and there's no police around. This is getting crazy.
How is somebody supposed to react? If you were sitting there and somebody turned your table upside down, or if it was your business, how would you react? Violence promotes violence. That should stop. And any politician who approves this or even says it's okay, it's wrong. I'm sorry. It just doesn't make sense. It has nothing to do with political affiliation. This kind of violence has to stop. It's not American. It's, you want to voice your opinion, there's only one way to voice your opinion. November 3rd, you cast your ballot. That's the way I see it. That's democracy.
Exactly right.
Everything
and
else
you know what?
is anti-American.
As a woman, because they keep saying that Trump is losing the women's vote, what's the most important thing to you? Is it security? Is it financial? What's the most important thing? Is immigration?
In order for us to thrive, okay, when you run a business, or if you're a woman, in order for us to thrive financially, first of all, because that brings a slew of other things. If there's let me backtrack a little bit. In January or in December of this year, we've been open for 8 years. We probably had the best season ever. Okay, so
Wow.
yes, we did. Let me tell you, the only bad thing was we couldn't find enough staff. There was such low unemployment that restaurants were suffering. When a restaurant has to pay $12 and $13 an hour for a dishwasher, it has a problem. Okay, when you can't find cooks, when I have to go online, it's a problem. So unemployment was so low that it was getting to be a real problem for restaurants. We couldn't hire enough people. We couldn't have enough people on to work. On the other hand, we saw the best season we've had in the last 8 years because it was very good. So
Why do you
this all
think that
came
is?
to an well, the policies of this administration the last 3.5 years really paid off. But in order to have the what we had in January and in December, what we had this past winter, you need peace. You need no civil unrest. You need to have things not disturbed. You need to feel
I
secure.
want to make
Security is very.
reservations for tonight.
Reservations tonight are kind of
I want to
low.
make reservations for tonight.
Weekends are busy, but reservations are kind of low. But let me tell you, security is very, very important. Immigration, yes. I think you can't. I became a citizen. It took me a long time, but there are ways for people to become citizens in this country legally. You don't have to break the law. You don't have to. I don't find this country unsympathetic. To be honest with you, the first time I heard of people getting deported or ICE going from restaurant to restaurant, it was during the Obama administration. 37 years in this country, we've had restaurants in New Jersey, in Florida. I never saw immigration going around deporting people until the Obama administration came. And that's when I decided to become a citizen too, because I didn't know if they were going to revoke my green card or not. But you can't let people come in.
I just got three text messages to give out the name of the restaurant again. It's Tassos Greek Taberna.
And we're on Oakland Park
What does
Boulevard.
Tassos mean? What does Tassos mean?
Tassos is an island in North Aegean Sea in Greece. So we make fresh food. We grind our own meat. Everything is fresh on the menu. We specialize on fresh fish, and but we take pride in what we do. And as I said, we're Americans by choice. I love this country.
Tell people something. Order the zucchini chips.
That's your favorite.
That's my favorite. Everything is my favorite at your restaurant. Now you're at the corner of Oakland Park Boulevard,
Oakland and
A1A.
Oakland and our phone number is 954-200-6006.
Before we go, we got two big interviews coming up. We got Laura Trump coming up in a few minutes, and then we got Diamond and Silk coming up. So this book is coming out from Bob Woodward. It was done almost 4 months ago. Right. And the whole thing is the president told him how bad it was, but he did not want to scare everybody. And they're trying everything they can do to make the president look bad. But you know what? I think this is going to backfire on them. Because if it was so bad 4 months ago, why didn't he warn everybody himself? Why did he keep it quiet?
But you don't remember very well. He did warn us. He said he anticipated he'd have 1 million
people. The president did.
Yes, he did. He closed down the whole country. I mean, a lot of people were upset that he closed down the whole country. I don't know what else they could do. They closed us down for 2 weeks, and the 2 weeks ended up to 2 months. And because nobody knew what kind of virus it was and how it's transmitted. I mean, I remember we were afraid to even get the packages in. We were disinfecting the packages that we were getting delivered by Amazon. So it's very easy to be a Monday quarterback, right? but nobody knew. And now the other thing is, if you're a leader, you have to keep your calm. If you're the captain on a boat, if you panic, if you come out and you say, oh, this is the end, all of you jump ship, you're not going to be the right captain. You have to keep some kind of an order. You have to keep a cool head. It's not the first pandemic that it will happen to the world. It's not going to be the last one. But right now, we're looking at a cure or a vaccine that will come out in a few months. I don't understand what anybody else could have done better. Let me tell you, we go around the world, and I follow news in Europe and throughout the world. I don't see anybody has handled it much better. I mean, you can, if you want to shut down the economy, how are we all going to leave? Where are we going up? It's not practical. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for only Amazon or Walmart to be in business, or Target. It just doesn't make
Right.
sense either. What's going to happen to the rest of us? Or how long will the reserves last? Or how long can we depend on unemployment checks or PPP money? Eventually, if this doesn't go away, or if the vaccine is not successful, we'll have to live with this. So as I said, I mean, I have to protect an 85-year-old person that lives in my house. And also I had a niece that was born March 29th during the lockdown. And we had to take every precaution because you don't want babies infected. You don't know.
Exactly.
But this is all uncharted territory. This is something that nobody else has lived through. I'll tell you what it is. I mean, I just read on Spiegel magazine the other day that the Chinese did conspire with the World Health Organization, and they kept this secret for 6 weeks. And they accumulated all the protective gear and all the respirators and everything in their country. They didn't allow any experts, and that's why we were short. They took the precautions. Let me tell you, I was getting Clorox cleanup wipes and Clorox cleanup and alcohol long before the president came out, or long before they locked us down. I was getting it in the early January when I heard about the virus in China. This is a global economy. You don't think if somebody who flies in from China will transfer it? You're dreaming. We don't live in a bubble.
Yes.
We live in a society. So, needless to say, as a household, I was gathering gear back then in December and in January. So I don't think the president could have done anything different. I remember him every day on television, and he was expecting 1 million people dead. If that doesn't scare anybody, I don't know what else. If you think the stock market went down then, if you thought fortunes were lost then, imagine how much more tragic would he portrayed it. They would have accused him of a conspiracy to ruin America so he can benefit. It's no matter what you do, there's criticism one way or the other.
He cannot win.
Yes, you cannot win.
Imagine if he discovered a cure for cancer, Sophia. They would find fault with it.
Listen, I have our accountant, okay? He's not a Trump supporter. He said to me, I'm not a Trump supporter. He says, but his father was hours before they would hook him up on a respirator. So they decided to give him the plasma therapy as a measure of last resort. He said within 24 hours, his father that couldn't breathe, he wanted to be discharged from the hospital because he felt so good. So it
saved his life.
Yes, it did save his life. So I heard criticism about Trump approving the plasma therapy, which is an old therapy that we were using in the last pandemic back in the early 1900s. So there is criticism left or right. The nice thing with this president is that he's a good captain. He keeps his cool regardless of the criticism. He does what he has to do, and nobody realizes how difficult it is to keep your cool and do what you do. I admire him for that. You don't have to like him. You hire him to do a job. It's not a personal thing whether you like him or not, whether you like the color of his hair or the way he treats or the way whatever. That's personal. It's a job. When you hire people in your business, or when I hire people in my restaurant, all I look at is, can they do the job? And he does the job very well, between you and me. He gets it done.
I got to tell you, for the next 2 months, Sophia and I are going to be doing the political show because listen, Florida is very important. If we lose Florida to Biden, you might as well throw your hands up. And
Well,
it's going to be great having a view from a woman, a businesswoman, the restaurant business, and Tassos Greek Taverna. They're going to be sponsoring our show. And next time we're going to open up lines for questions. But Sophia, I'm so glad. I'm so
thank
glad
you very much.
that
Thank you.
you're part of the show. We're going to go to Laura Trump, our interview. I think that's the first one, or it might be Diamond and Silk. But we're going to go to the interview. It was amazing. And we got more surprises down the road coming to you. Give everybody the phone number at Tassos again.
It's 954-200-6006, and we're located at 3330 East Oakland Park Boulevard in Fort Lauderdale.
Call them
Always happy
up.
to see you.
Sophia's going to be with me till we win November the 3rd, right?
Yes, yes.
Stay healthy. We love you. And we're
Thank you
going to
very
go
much.
to break. We'll be right back. Thanks, Sophia.
You're welcome.
K. Bender Rembaum is a full-service community association law firm devoted to the representation of more than 1,200 community associations throughout Florida under the direction of attorneys Robert L. K. Esquire, Michael S. Bender Esquire, and Jeffrey A. Rembaum Esquire. K. Bender Rembaum is dedicated to providing clients with an unparalleled level of personalized and professional service regardless of their size and takes into account their individual needs and financial concerns. K. Bender Rembaum assists clients in all matters of association representation, including, but not limited to, collection of assessments, contract negotiation, covenant review and amendment, covenant enforcement, and construction defect claims. K. Bender Rembaum also keeps clients up to date on new developments in the condo and HOA law and how they are personally affected by them. K. Bender Rembaum provides prompt, effective, high-quality, cost-efficient, and understandable legal advice and services to a diverse client base. Call K. Bender Rembaum today at 800-974-0680. That's 800-974-0680. Of America's top names in politics, and call in with your comments at 888-565-1470. And now, here's Steve-O.
You've got the Politically Right Show. I'm host Steve-O. Boy, do we have a great interview today. We have Mrs. Trump, that's Laura Trump, on with us today. And we are going to be talking about women's issues, and I have a few of my own. So sit back. We've got so many people from Washington, D.C. that are going to be coming on our show over the next 2 months. We actually got a call on this from the White House saying we would like for you to bring Lara on the show today. So sit back and enjoy the interview. The traveling you're doing, you're in Florida today.
I'm in Florida, yeah. I'm in North Carolina tomorrow. I was in Pennsylvania yesterday. So, yeah, we're traveling a lot.
Okay, so the last thing, and we're going to talk about women's issues with the president. You were on with me about maybe a year ago, and I've never been on a call that I felt so bad about. I'm from Texas. And when you say, bless your heart in Texas, if my mom falls, I'm going to say, oh, bless your heart. But on the East Coast, it's not nice to say. And I felt so bad after we hung up. And anyway,
stop.
It's bothered
You're
me
funny.
ever
No,
since.
Don't worry.
So
That is so funny.
I know.
Worry.
So listen, we've got to take Florida. What is this stuff?
Absolutely.
What is this stuff that women aren't going to be voting for President Trump?
Oh, well, that's totally ridiculous, by the way. They tried to say this in 2016, right? Because They thought that we'd all vote for Hillary Clinton because we're women, and why wouldn't we vote for someone of the same gender? Totally ridiculous. There's a bigger contingency of the silent majority now than 2016, absolutely guaranteed. I think we're going to see that on Election Day on November 3rd.
So, I was really worried for about 5 minutes. And after everything I've seen, I'm like, what am I worried about? But what I am worried about is these mail-in votes. I got to tell you, I am worried about those.
Yeah, well, there's a lot going on right now, and I think the reality is that the Democrats have realized that it's going to be very hard, if not impossible, to beat a president like Donald Trump, who has such an incredible track record. Promises made and promises kept is not just a campaign slogan; it's actually what he has done. So now, what have we seen? We've seen that they are trying, and they started this with 90 days to go in an election, to try and totally change the election system by mailing out to every person in the country millions of these mail-in ballots. You have no idea who is actually filling them out, who is sending them in. It's much different than absentee voting, where you have to request a ballot, where you have to have a signature or verification of the individual that actually filled that ballot out and who they are. We saw that in North Carolina, there was a cat that had been dead for 12 years named Cody Timms, who got a mail-in ballot. This is the problem with these things. Among many other issues, it's ripe for voter fraud. People could send in multiple mail-in ballots and go vote at a polling location. The possibilities are endless. So this is just trickery from the Democrats. It's a way to rip off the American people. And it's why the president has been very strongly advocating for absentee, but against the universal mail-in voting. It's very, very dangerous.
What are you going to tell mothers that have little kids about sending their kids to school?
Well, I happen to be one of those mothers.
Yes.
I have a son who's turning 3 this month, and he will be going back to school. He started last year a couple of days a week, and he's going 5 days a week this year, and he will be going back to school. And I am 100% on board and excited for him to go to school, because when you look at the statistics, and this is what people need to start doing, we need to stop listening to the fear-based media. They have tried to terrify every parent in this country. What you realize is that the seasonal flu is actually much more dangerous to children, and especially to young children, than COVID ever has been and ever will be. So we know that every year we don't shut down schools, we don't keep kids home because of the flu. Why would we now be doing it because of coronavirus? There is a safe way that children can go back to school, and we know how detrimental it would be if we kept them home, whether you're talking about the education they're missing out on, whether you're talking about, especially for young children, the socialization aspect. That's how kids, especially young children, learn, is by socializing with their peers. We know that there are millions of children in this country whose only source of real nutrition in a day comes from the lunches that they get at school. Child abuse and learning deficiencies are often identified by teachers and staff at a school well before a parent would be able to identify those things. There are so many reasons specifically related to children that they should go back. But then you think about the fact that parents oftentimes cannot go back to work if their child is not in school. So when we're talking about a single parent, think about having to make that decision. Do I go to work so that I can feed and care for my family, or do I stay home because my kid has to do at-home learning? It's very, very difficult. The kids have to go back to school. The president has been pushing for that, and we know there's a safe way to get it done.
Okay, final question. Now, this is a hard question, and then we're going to let you go. Who are you going to be voting for in November? Think about it now. Don't just jump into it.
I don't want to. Well, I've thought long and hard about this, and I will tell you, there is no other person for whom I would ever cast a vote than President Donald Trump. When you see that this is a man that didn't need this job, that works tirelessly for the American people, that will do whatever it takes to make sure that this country stays the beacon of hope and freedom of any country around the world, that the American dream is allowed to thrive and prosper here. That is President Donald Trump. And you see on the other side, Joe Biden advocating for socialism, the Trojan horse for the far left radical socialists in the Democrat Party. By the way, the most far left leaning socialist ticket in the history of American politics, with the addition of Kamala Harris on there too. So I don't want a bankrupt country. I don't want open borders and defunded police departments. I want safety, security, and prosperity for all. That's why I'll be voting for President Donald Trump.
Well, Mrs. Trump, I got to tell you, I wish you would have thought about it a little bit longer, but we didn't have. You know what? I understand. I see why you are a senior advisor, because I love when you come on, whether it's Fox or whatever it is. Thank you for coming on today, and please, we got to have Florida. You got to come back. You got to promise me.
Oh, don't worry. You're going to get very tired of seeing Trumps in Florida. We'll be canvassing the state from now until November 3rd.
Well, I love you. You're the best. Tell Eric hi. He's been on our show many of times. And please, God bless.
Thank you so much. Great to be with you.
Thank you. Wow, that was Lara Trump. So 3 years ago, there were some beautiful women that if I called their agent up, whatever time I needed them, they were there. 3 years ago. Then they became big shots. They opened up for the president. Now you call them and they say, well, I can get you in at 3:20 a.m. for 6 minutes, or on a Sunday at 5:25 for 4 minutes. You guys are very popular. Very.
Wow.
Diamond and Silk is speechless? I can't believe
No,
it.
look, I'm just listening to you do the introduction, Steve.
Yeah.
Now, we didn't mean to go out here and get famous.
Right.
But it's all for a good cause. We want people to be pro-America and stand up for our flag.
That's right.
So just understand that.
Okay, so I'm just going to start off with some lady who was having her hair done the other day that didn't think she needed to wear a mask, and it's not her fault. Let's start off with her.
Yeah, isn't it hypocritical?
Very.
You know, these people, I said it on another show, they have their feet on our necks. You're telling us what we can and can't do it, and you can and can't do, and you're not even following those rules your own self.
That's right.
You know, how old is Nancy? Is she almost 100 years old? It's time for people like her to step down. We're getting really tired of this here.
That's right.
These people have literally flattened people's livelihoods, and they feel like they have a sense of entitlement. She can walk up in a salon, not wear her mask, when she kept telling everybody mask. Okay, and then I think we supposed to look the other way. We all have got to call Miss Nancy Pelosi out.
That's right.
She is a liar and she is a hypocrite. And when I see her, who's an elderly person who is in the most vulnerable category, not wearing her mask, then I'm wondering, is this as serious as they're trying to make it out to be?
That's right.
How about all the people who can't work that she is keeping out of work because she won't come in and negotiate? And here she is. You know, you're not supposed to blow dry your hair in California. It's against the law. And that's what she was having done.
Oh, I didn't even know that, but she should have washed her hair in the shower and did a dry shampoo at home instead of walking up in that salon. It's an insult. It's a slap in business owners' face, because it makes us feel like you must have a sense of entitlement. It's the same way she was standing in front of that $10,000-$20,000 refrigerator eating on ice cream that cost almost $20. Like people were in food lines trying to get food. But this is who is running that house up there, and these are the type of people that need to be voted out.
They got to go.
These people need to be voted out Congress.
That's
Congress is the ones that write the rules, and they sitting somewhere home. Why you got to go get your hair done? You ain't working no way.
So
and she looked just as well. Look, she didn't look no better than she did before she got the hair done.
That's right.
Unbelievable. She, you know what she said one time? They were talking about why they shouldn't build the wall. And she said, just cut the grass so you can see them. I went, huh? What is she talking about?
But see, when you have Nancy Pelosi that having a clue, that is clueless, and she has lost touch with the American people.
Yep.
At 80 years old, she need to take her old behind somewhere and sit down.
That's right.
Zip it.
Yep.
I don't want her telling us what to do no more. I don't believe nothing she say. She is a liar. She can't tell me to wear a mask. I'm going to follow your lead. I ain't going to wear one because you didn't have one on.
That's right.
You should lead by example. And what you're telling America is not to take this serious.
But it was so good to see the lie behind
She comes
the mask.
down the
That's
president for not wearing a mask.
I mean, just look at her. I mean, but see, whenever we as American citizens allow this and people like this to dictate to us how we need to be,
Right.
we're going to get this. It's do as I say, not as I do. You know, a mask for D, but not for me. It's basically what she is saying. So we got to continue to call hypocritical people like that out.
And vote them out.
That's
I'm
right.
tired of them running our country. They're running it to the ground. And a lot of this stuff that they're doing is designed to hurt the president of the United States
That's
for no reason.
That's right.
Because they want power.
That's right. Because if you remember before this pandemic, scamdemic, whatever you want to call it, President Trump had this economy at an all-time greatness. Ever. They had it. And see, the Democrats didn't know how they was going to take and swindle this here when it comes down to Jim Crow Joe. So now what they had to do, they see, okay, oh, this is another way we can take and keep this country locked down. So then now we can say that the unemployment is at an all-time high. But look at where's the unemployment being at an all-time high? What cities and what states is that in? Democrat-ran cities.
That's right.
Why? Because those governors in Democrat-ran states and cities are keeping their states closed.
That's right.
So imagine if they will open it back up. They
Are
open
you
it back
doing
up,
more
then they can't
traveling now
report
than ever before?
unemployment.
Are you doing a lot of traveling now throughout the
We're
United
doing
States?
some traveling, but
Yeah.
you know, a lot of that got cut because of the pandemic.
Right.
When
Oh,
you
that's
go to
right,
certain
yes.
states, they have rules and regulations. So we've been using our platform. You know, we have a new show now on Newsmax TV called Crystal Clear, Diamond and Silk Crystal Clear, that airs every Saturday night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have a podcast that comes out every Thursday. I'm giving people our thoughts. We're still using our social media platform as much as they'll let us use it without them stifling our reach and still trying to censor our voices. So yes, that's
What
how
about
we're
your
getting
book?
the word out. And we pop up at 1 or 2 campaigns every now and again. We were just at the White House the other day when the president gave the magnificent speech about how he want to bring this country, continue to bring it to greatness. So
And
we
not
out
only
there.
that, we have our own social media platform
Yes.
called Chattit, ChatDit.com for people to go to if they want to keep up with Diamond and Silk. And we also have our phenomenal book,
Yes.
Uprising. Who the hell said you can't ditch and switch? The Awakening of Diamond and Silk. And you can go and get that book at diamondandsilkbook.com.
So we've been very, very busy.
Very busy.
So I'm going to throw something at you because, you know, people love you. When you were at the Broward Center down here, there were people who were Democrats who goes, who are those ladies? And we would explain to them, you have no idea how many followers and people who love you. What happened at Fox?
Oh, we write about it in the book.
In the
Get
book.
the book.
Get the
We
book.
write about it in the last chapter. It is the truth. We have the receipts as our proof. Get the book at diamondandsilkbook.com because we write about it. And the one thing I want people to understand, we are not here to disparage Fox. We tell our truth in the book.
Yeah.
Understand that there are people over there that we highly respect, that we still love, and we respect their opinions, and we want to leave it like that. And oftentimes the left-wing media try to put us against each other, and we shouldn't allow that to happen. But I want you to get the book, diamondandsilkbook.com, read the last chapter, and we
Okay.
tell you everything that happened.
Everything.
Good for you. Tell me something. What do you say about the funding of police department? Because I got to tell you something. All my friends tell me they don't want the police department defunded. They want more.
Well, I think it's the crazy thing when people want to defund the police. Okay, so if you get rid of the police, who you gonna call? Because you can't pick up the phone and call Black Lives Matter
Or Ghostbusters.
Yeah, you got to pick up the phone. You dial 911 to call
That's
for a
right.
police officer who's going to come out and protect and serve. What are you saying to these low income communities, to communities that have elderly people that need that type of help? What do you say to them when you talk about you want to fund? You want them to be victim and victimized in their homes and in their communities, which is so sad.
That's
We
right.
need our police officers, and they need to be protected. You listen. We already know that there are bad apples in every bunch, and
Exactly.
we can also say that some of these officers may choke. That's because they are afraid.
Fear.
You push them into fear. They don't know how to act or react. And then, as a citizen, you should respect law and order. And if you're given an order, follow an order.
That's right.
I think that would cut out all of the other stuff. But if they got to trace you around, you done beat the police, you done took the taser from the police and tased the police, tell me what the heck are they supposed to do?
That's right. And don't go around here committing all of these crimes where the police have to be called on you.
Right. So I think that we have to get to an understanding
Right.
that respect is given if you want respect back. You
That's
can't
right.
expect for nobody to respect you and you disrespecting them all over the place. That's not how it works.
That's right.
So when it comes to defunding the police, we need our police. It's time to refund the police, give them their jobs back, and let them know that they're doing a good job protecting and serving our country. Because at the end of the day, they want to go home to their families too.
And can I just say one thing? When you talk about defunding the police, defunding means removing money from the police where other, police officers will get fired. But where does that money go?
Right.
Where do they reallocate that money is the question. Who's getting a kickback and a paddywhack? I need to know which dog is being given a bone.
That's right.
Do you know that domestic violence is the worst call a police officer can go on? It's the most dangerous call. And they want to put like a group of counselors to go to
No.
to go to a domestic violence rather than the police.
When you have somebody where their energy is so high that they are acting belligerent, it's not the time for a counselor.
No.
You may need a police officer, somebody to protect and serve.
That's right.
You have to put a line of defense there to let the person that's on this higher belligerent behavior know that their behavior is not going to be tolerated and it have to be calmed down. But this is what the left-leaning liberals want.
That's
They're
right.
doing everything in their power to destroy our great country. And it is so sad. This is why you all have to vote for Trump.
Yeah.
So you're
a
from
lot
North
of people,
Carolina.
they also see-
You're from North Carolina.
Yes.
Right.
Is Trump going to take North Carolina this year?
Trump is going to take North Carolina.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me if he wouldn't flip every state red.
Every state.
Yeah, people ain't putting up with this.
Yes.
Do you think we actually gonna vote for Jim Crow Joe, who's been in office for 47 years in government? What makes you think he gonna do it in 4 years? If he couldn't do it in 47 years? Look at his record.
Right.
Now compare his record to President Trump's record. Now tell me which one makes sense.
That's right.
I'm not giving up my low taxes, my low unemployment for high taxes and high unemployment up under Jim Crow Joe, Biden. Absolutely not. So when you look at this, you better look into
Yep.
who this man is.
That's right.
Every time he opens up his mouth, he echoes the sentiments of bigotry and racism.
That's right.
I'm not going for any of that.
Okay, here's the hardest question you will ever get. I want you to think about it.
Okay.
Who are you voting for? Now think
I'm
about
voting
it.
for.
Look,
You don't have to think about
Listen, that's right. I'm voting for Donald J. Trump.
That's right.
And what I want to say to everybody, if you are on the fence, because you don't know, I want you to get off the fence and walk through the gate, hop on the Trump train and vote for President Donald J. Trump.
That's right.
I didn't ask you to like him. I told you to vote for him
That's right.
because his policies is going to benefit you.
So make sure you vote right so you won't get left.
so
Vote red.
Let's tell everybody
RED,
about your
remove
TV show.
every Democrat.
So let's tell again everybody about your show, your book, and your podcast.
Okay, the podcast come on every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can find the podcast, Diamond and Silk, the podcast, on Apple, Stitcher, Spotify, or anywhere you get your podcast. We have a show called Diamond and Silk Crystal Clear on Newsmax TV that comes on 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Saturday. You can find us over there. Also, you all, our book, Uprising. Who the hell said you can't ditch and switch? The Awakening of Diamond and Silk. You can get that at Diamond and Silk Book or anywhere they sell books. We have our own social media platform called Chatdit, CHATDIT.com.
That's right.
Y'all, you can go on and you can Google that and you can find that and sign up for that. Or just Google Diamond and Silk, follow and like all of our social media platforms.
Well, I've got to tell you, I love you. I've had since the first day. We got to take Florida. Florida is very important, and I want to have you guys back on again, because Florida. If we don't get Florida, forget about it. I mean, it's going to be bad if we don't get Florida.
Yeah, well, I'm hearing that people from like places like New York is moving there. But listen, you have to get out and talk to people. Talk to people. Sometimes we could be preaching to the choir. So if you don't see Diamond and Silk in the forefront, we're in the underground.
That's right.
There's an uprising going on in the underground, baby.
That's right.
And these people are voting for Trump. So instead of us preaching to the choir, we don't went out there and got more choir members.
That's right.
We need more choir members.
Singing the same tune.
Make America great again for this President Donald J. Trump.
That's right.
God bless. Thank you so much for your time. And we're going to definitely see you again, hopefully next month. God bless.
Yes.
Yes. God bless.
Thank you for having us.